Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to share with you the conference I gave at the Keynote Hanneke van Bruggen in the last Congress of the European Network of Occupational Therapy in Higher Education. The title was 3D Printing and Occupational Therapy Ecosocial Present and Sustainable Future. First of all, of course, I want to thank again to the University of La Coruña and the EUIT, the Escola Universitaria de Terapia Ocupacional de Terrassa, for their nomination to be able to give the Hanneke van Bruggen lecture. Especially, I also want to thank the wonderful organization developed by Facultad Padre Oso at Oviedo, and of course to ENOTHE for giving me that privilege that was to give this keynote devoted to Hanneke van Bruggen. You know, there is a quotation from Bertolt Brecht that it was, I think, written for Hanneke on. There are women who fight a day and they are good. There are women who fight a year and they are better. And finally, there are women who fight all their life. They are the essential ones. Hanneke van Bruggen, of course, is in our list of essential ones. So the framework of this keynote, it's related to digital competences, is the policies that the European Union is developing related to this competence, that the importance of the digital competences. So digital competence involves the confident, critical, and responsible use of engagement with digital technologies for learning, at work, and for participation in society. It is defined as a combination of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So you see how close it is to occupational therapy as we work and we are talking about competences, learning, work, participation are key concepts also for occupational therapy. And here I wanted to share with you this DICCOM conceptual reference model that was developed by the European Union. And it's very interesting to see how they are highlighting different kind of competences, of course, these digital competences, but also citizenship competences and entrepreneurship competences, as well as cultural awareness and expression competences. So you see how these digital competences are key for the European Union, and in combination with others as entrepreneurship or the citizenship competences that I will mention later. But here, the first thing I wanted to share with you is this conceptual reference model that I think is extremely useful when we want to include especially these digital competences in our curriculum at the European Union for the education of the occupational therapies. Here you have the different categories and the taxonomy of these competences. We need to know, we already know for sure that we are in the huge policy that's called the 2030 digital decade. So the European Union is looking for a human-centric, sustainable, and vision for digital society through the digital decade to empower citizens and businesses. So again, empowerment is part of the key philosophy of occupational therapy. So you see how well it matches occupational therapy with this Europe's digital decade. Digital society and digital technologies bring new ways to learn, entertain, work, and explore and fulfill ambitions. They also bring new freedom and rights and give EU citizens the opportunity to reach out beyond physical communities, geographical locations, and social positions. However, there are still many challenges associated with the digital transformation. The digital world should be based on European values like freedom, protection, fairness, and no one should be left behind. This is extremely important when we talk about occupational justice, when we talk about occupational deprivation, when we talk about empowerment. Again, we are really close to these documents. So this is another strategy that we need to consider, and the question is how from occupational therapy and, of course, occupational science, we can just contribute to those ambitions 2030 digital decade from the European Union. So again, there is the targets and objective of this policy. There are 4 different main goals, and you see especially the first one, a digitally skilled population and highly skilled digital professionals. So it means that as occupational therapists, we need to train our new generation of occupational therapists that are highly skilled, digitally skilled, but also we have the potential to contribute, empowering all the citizens to be highly skilled related to digital competences. So that's a great contribution. So first of all, how we are already teaching these digital competences in our education, the first question. The second question, how we can really keep on empowering the communities, the citizenships, through these digital competences. So you see how we can contribute to this, especially to the first goal of the Europe's digital decade. So there is still so many work to do. You see here some maps and some demos just telling how we are progressing. That, for example, digital skills in the European Union. So we see there are some countries that they have more than 40% of the individuals with moderate and advanced skills. But there is still a lot of progression to be done. So you can check the different countries. Also on the left, you can see the Digital Economy and Society Index. And so you see all the countries, depending on the human capital, the connectivity, the integration of digital technology, digital public health services, where they are. So we see we have still a lot to do. And also, when we consider this Digital Europe needs digital skills, this document also from the European Commission, you see how important it is, this digital competences when we are focusing on the job, on work. So the European Commission is saying that digital technology are going to create new jobs. So it's a needs, it's a window of opportunity. We can train people to fulfill the new jobs that are being created in this amazing area. So it's about creating new jobs, but also is that we need to train the people who already has a job in this digital competence, because if not, they are in risk of losing their job, the job they are doing today. So it's very important that we train the people who has a job, but also it's very important to train the people who are unemployed, because in these digital domains. So you see that really there is a huge contribution that we can do through digital competences in one of the key aspects of occupational therapy, that's the productivity. Of course, we need to keep on focusing on self-care and leisure, but we need to reinforce our attention to job and productivity, because it's very important for the people. When you have your own job, you don't depend on social pensions, or you can develop a more independent life project. And also, it's very, very important when we consider the great unemployment rates. For example, in Spain, we can realize it's a huge occupational problem. It's a huge occupational challenge that we have, is to reinforce and to help people to have access to meaningful and well-paid, because that's another problem. We have the precarity of the job sector. So the capabilities, the possibility to help people to insert in the job market in meaningful and well-paid jobs, it's really an amazing occupational challenge that we can fulfill as a profession, because it's really a huge occupational challenge. So, and why it's so important, this reflection about job and work? Because, ladies and gentlemen, right now we are living the fourth industrial revolution, as the first three industrial revolutions are completely changing the industrial, but also the work environment. And as we are occupational therapists, that we are experts in occupations, we need to know, to realize what's going on and what are the consequences of these changes for the populations, for the citizenship. So we know that at the beginning of the 19th century, we have the Industrial 1.0. It was based in the introduction of the steam and the water power. In the 20th century, Industry 2.0, using electric power. At the end of the 20th century, we introduced the Industry 3.0. That was the automatization thanks to the electronics, the internet, and the systems and robotics. But right now we are living the Industry 4.0. That means that the smart factory, autonomous decision, it's about the Internet of Things, it's about big data analysis, it's about new technologies, like of course is the increasing importance of robotics, but also new technologies as 3D printing, virtual reality, etc. The most important, going back to my reflection about job and work, this fourth industrial revolution means that there are thousands of jobs that are gonna disappear. And also there are thousands of jobs that are gonna be that are created, but just for those who have these digital competences. And the knowledge, for example, I repeat, about 3D printing, virtual reality, Internet of Things, whatever. So it's extremely important to be aware as occupational therapists and occupational scientists that we are living this occupational revolution. It's a huge transition. And this is not something new in our history. For example, one of the first occupational therapy schools, you know that it was the Hull House in Chicago. There was a project that helped the migrants arriving to USA to adapt to this occupational revolution that was the transition from the agriculture to industry. So it's part of our legacy to help the people to do this kind of occupational revolutions. So it's very important also to understand that the world, the market, the employments that were accessible for so many of the clients we work with are disappearing. For example, the people who was at the supermarkets, this kind that they were in just selling and just the paying at the supermarket. This is substituted by this is being automated for robotics and for automatization. So these traditional jobs are disappearing, like cashier, but there are new ones created only for those with these digital competences. For that reason, it's important us to be able to train the people we work with for these new competences to fit in this new job market, because it's a huge revolution. So we really need to understand. And of course, we need to be very critical about it. So we need to have also a warning about this. Why? Because there are so many about also concerns that we must be very careful about this new society based on virtual reality, and especially the impact of social media. So we need to be aware of the health consequences, as the lack of physical exercise, distress, depression, suicide, anxiety, cyberbullying connected to the realities, and also about the social consequences, isolation, loneliness, lack of belonging, decrease of citizenship. So we need to balance the science and the digital with the art and the humanities. I love our definition of occupational therapies. Occupational therapy is the art and the science. We have this balance in our profession. And also it's extremely important to balance the digital and the virtual with the natural, with the ecological environment. So it's very important. So today I think that the lack of meaning in the life of the persons is one of the most important challenges that we have in our society. And so as occupational therapists, science, we can contribute to help the people, the communities, a more meaningful life project. And how we do it? Through meaningful occupations. So I think today we focus on job and the amazing opportunities that are being created by this new fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0, Economy 4.0. There are so many names, but also we need to monitor all these transitions, especially connected to virtual reality and social media, and to see the impacts social and health, because here also we have so many opportunities to deal and to prevent all these aspects. So, because today our society, I use the concept of VUCA, you saw on the slide previous, but it's about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. This is our context. And so, for example, stress and anxiety are important parts of our daily life. So I saw this amazing artist, it's called Dario Villava. It's called this art piece is called La Espera, that also make me to think about this society with so many lights, but also shadows. So we need to be aware of that. On the other hand, we have been talking about the fourth industrial revolution, the economy 4.0, but we cannot neglect, and we must be much more proactive to combat the climate change. We know about climate crisis, but we need to do more to deal with it because it's jeopardizing the future, not the future, the present and the future of humanity, especially the future of the next generations. So it's extremely important to be more proactive from occupational therapy and science, how we can deal and we can contribute with that. So we can help to work in a economy 4.0, but also we'll see that we can contribute through a green economy to deal and to combat this climate crisis. In this sense, it's very important to learn from traditional cultures. When I was working with Mayan Indian people, they said something like with the Indians communities in North America, they said, I don't take the line from my parents. I borrow it from my children. I walk gently over the Mother Earth, not to damage the souls of the next generations. So we need to be aware that this beautiful planet do not belong to us, belongs to the next generations. And we need to be the guardians. And we need really to fight for them to be able to have a planet to inhabit. That's our responsibility. So again, we can connect also with this green economy movement. Here you have some definitions from the UN Environmental Program. A green definition, a green economy is defined as a low carbon, resource efficient, and socially inclusive economy. So again, here, this socially inclusive productivity, job, we are really talking about occupational therapy and occupational science. So you see, when we discuss about green growth, it's about the social development and poverty alleviation, it's climate change resilience, it's economic growth. Again, we can make so many links to occupational deprivation, occupational justice, occupational ecology. Why not? We can do it. So from a few time ago, I started working in this occupational ecology. Here on the right, you have one of the last articles I published. It's occupational ecology, an emerging field for occupational science. This was published this year, 2023, in the Journal of Occupational Science. So here you have the references and you can go in deep in these reflections. In this article, I was talking about what's occupational ecology, the connection with ecosocial occupational therapy, of course, and I was opening like different fields to research from occupational science. It was not a finished list, of course, I was just opening some possibilities. So what's occupational ecology? We depart from the fact that, as Heidegger said, human being is a being in the world. The ecological environment is the always present container of human occupations. And of course, the ecology and the human occupation are affecting, influencing each other. So humans' occupations and ecological environment mutually affect each other. The occupational ecology is an emerging occupational science field of study. It's the transdisciplinary study of the deep and inseparable connections between the human occupation and the ecological environment. And as I mentioned, here was opening just 7 possibilities to develop research from ecological from occupational science. Possibilities as to study the human occupation as the major force of ecological degradation. but also the study of economic alternative systems, the direct relationship between human occupation, environmental degradation, and poverty as a case of occupational injustice, ecological degradation as a cause of illness and occupational dysfunction, doing ecology as a meaningful occupation, occupation in the ecological environment as an instrument of well-being and social participation, human occupation as an agent of ecological restoration and sustainability, redesign of occupational patterns and lifestyles. So these are 7 fields of research that I developed in this article. And of course, occupational ecology is extremely connected with ecosocial occupational therapy. Again, here on the right, you have the title of the article, Ecosocial Occupational Therapy. We published together with 8,000. So in 2015 that you can check, and because here I develop all these ideas. Ecosocial occupational therapy is based on the development of occupational therapy projects, preferable action research projects, integrating the impact of well-being, social participation with a positive ecological impact from an occupational justice and human rights perspective. So you can have one project that has benefit from the well-being of the populations, the social participation, citizenship, human rights, but also from the planet, just to fight with the climate change. One of the purposes of ecosocial occupational therapy is to build healthy, inclusive, and sustainable communities. The definition of this is a group that recognizes its mutual interdependence in which everyone feels and participates as a citizen with full rights, regardless any occupational problem. This community is evolving in harmony with the natural environment to meet the needs of the present without compromising of those future generations to meet their own needs. So it's about interdependence. It's about intergeneration solidarity that I think is extremely important today. So here also you have some more publications. These are in Spanish. Terapia Ocupacional Ecosocial, hacia una ecología ocupacional, that was published in Cuadernos de Terapia Ocupacional in Brazil, and also terapia ocupacional desde una perspectiva ecosocial de la salud mental. This is more focused on the relationship between ecosocial occupational therapy and mental health. And also we publish Ecología Ocupacional, a case study. Discussed was the case with mining in Argentina with Abregu. That's one of my colleagues. And of course, I highly recommend you the publications from the World Federation, Environmental Sustainability, Sustainable Practice within Occupational Therapy, and Sustainability Matters, the guiding principles for sustainability. These are very important documents. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have such an amazing number of possibilities for occupational therapy, but what's clear is that occupational therapists must be trained in these digital competences. We cannot ignore this fourth industrial revolution. We cannot ignore this amazing transition from the occupational point of view. That's this. We cannot ignore also the concerns. Remember the problems with the social media, with the virtual reality, anxiety, stress. There are so many things we need to consider. But of course, these new technologies, they must be part of our educational curriculum. You see the policy of 2030, the agenda for digital Europe. The first point was to train highly skilled professionals. So it's our responsibility to train our students. So here we'll just share some examples of projects we are developing in occupational therapy and from occupational science at the University of Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya, because also the ones you know me, I like to talk from the action, because to talk is very easy, to say we can do that or we should do that. I always prefer to talk. No, I prefer the projects to talk themselves because that's real. So, for example, later I will focus in this project, e-green social design, how 3D printing is a powerful tool for mental health well-being and employment. It's a project that we are working with young people. just to make sure they have a good access, a good transition to the job market. But the amazing thing is that these young people are already working together in our university, and they are also participating in some educational activities. So here in this photo, you see one of our members of our team of young people working this project at the University of Big with our 3D printers. These are the small ones, doing some activities together with our occupational therapy students. So you see how we can interact in these projects. So of course, 3D printing must be part of our education. Our students needs to have these competences in the curriculum. They need to learn them and how to use them in the different fields. But we cannot wait to the university to start training the students about these 3D printing competences, for example. So in one of the projects we have led for the last 4 years, we are working with local schools that are in a situation of occupational deprivation, neighborhoods with high level of unemployment, poverty, and we are already training them, training the teachers and working with the teachers and the students to ensure that they have these digital competences. So when we'll go to the job market, they still will be ready. So we start working with them, primary school, secondary school, and then the professional education. So you see, we are trying to create a continuum. So this project was done with the School of Dominicas, that as I have mentioned, we have been working with them for the last 4 years. Of course, also virtual reality, it's another technology that we need to implement and to include in our occupational therapy curriculum. These photos are from a project. It's called the Mirari project. We are working with Aurora. That's a cooperative in Vic. So it's about introducing virtual reality as a powerful tool for well-being and social participation of the elderly, because you know that so many times the elderly people are in a situation of occupational deprivation. They have no access to these new technologies. So we're doing research how virtual reality can improve the well-being and the social participation of the elderly. And we have one of our PhD students is working with this project. So it's one of the research. Here we're doing action research in this project. Also, we were doing also action research in this project because we have also another of our PhD students working in the research dimension of the project. This was part of a European 2020 project called Community for Inclusion. So it's also, as I mentioned, when I was talking about ecosocial occupational therapy, it's always great if we can develop action research projects, generating new evidence, new knowledge for occupational therapy, occupational science. And this is part of the Mirari project. We're not just using the virtual reality, we're also creating videos of virtual reality, including arts like dance, like poetry. And you see also we're including these huge projectors that you can project 3D printing images in this 3D virtual reality images in huge screens. So you need the glasses. Several people can see this virtual reality without the use of the glasses. It's also one of the projects we are developing, as you can see. But also, for example, we are including these new technologies in the projects we were already developing. For 8 years ago almost, we have been developing projects about art and culture, the impact for well-being and social participation. We have developing these projects in so many museums and art centers like Museo Thyssen in Madrid, Serra Alves Foundation in Portugal, and now we start working with Bellas Artes Bilbao. We have been working in La Coruña, Bellas Artes. We have been with the National Auditorium of Catalonia. So you see in the last 8 years, we have developed so many projects based on art and culture. What we do now is we keep on working with these art centers, with these museums, but also including now digital art. So this is application Still Brush that you can create art in a digital way using the virtual reality. And the amazing thing is that you can create even digital museums. The artists can create their digital pieces. They have digital collections, but we can also create a digital museum. So you see, it's a nice combination of the traditional intervention through art and culture in a museum or in an art center. But we are including this, and we do this with our great colleagues from Politécnico de Porto, with this part is led by Raquel Simoes, amazing researchers from Politécnico de Porto. And this is part of our project that we are developing with the Serra Alves Foundation and with Politécnico Porto and the University of Vic, that now will move this project to a European project, but that's another history. So also we are using virtual reality. This is done through another PhD student that I have. How we can use virtual reality to increase the employability of mental health survivors. It's another of the projects we are developing. Again, action research. We work with mental health survivors, and we are using virtual reality to increase the employability skills. So you see again how the technology can reinforce the occupational performance of the people. Another project we are developing with another PhD student. You see, this is one of the strategies we are using. Now we have a team of great PhD students, amazing, so I'm very lucky. And thanks to them, we can lead several projects, because all of these projects are for at least for 4 years. And they are also, we are achieving funding. And these projects, for example, this one Eva Centelles project is about community occupational therapy and new technologies at the primary attention. We have funding from the Catalan government. In the other project I mentioned about art and occupational therapy, we also have this funding from the Catalan government. Now we have another PhD student, so we can have the project for a long time. In this project also, we are also including these new technologies like virtual reality, software of visual recognition in the occupational therapy intervention at the primary attention, at the community occupational therapy. So again, the new technologies are reinforcing, and this is without forgetting about the humanism, the client-centered approach, and the human aspect. So we're including the technology plus the human aspect with the philosophy. We also expect to be able to include digital technologies in our projects working with refugees. Right now, we are working with the PrEP-IP project that we are dealing with that. In the next future, we hope to include digital technology to monitor the health status of the refugee communities. And one thing that I wanted to recommend to you, and it's a good strategy to combine what I mentioned before, the need to balance the digital and the science with the art and the humanities, is that we are including the service learning methodology in our projects. So I have the privilege to have this wonderful group of students, occupational therapy students from the University of Vic, and they have been involved in so many of the projects I have mentioned. We will try to involve the students through this service learning methodology. So I highly recommend you to involve this methodology about service learning in all your interventions, because it's really, really powerful. So finally, in the last part of my intervention, I want to focus, and this is the last project we are developing. It's the social enterprise, e-green social design, and it's a project located in Caidetenes. This project is about dealing with occupational injustice and working towards occupational justice. So here you have some of the authors we are following, and we are thanks for their contributions, like Claire Hawking or Rashford, Thomas, Standig, Townsend, Wilcock. So this is part of the authors we are using for our interventions. So here you have them, and you have the references. And also we have a lot of references from authors that are developing theory and reflections about occupational therapy and occupational ecology, like Ikiugu, McAllister, Mendez, Yannick Un, and Wolf, the documents of Wolf, Ruth Zenke. You see again that we have a huge contribution in this field. I'm not gonna go in deep because it's not the target of my topic today, but I wanted to share some of the references we are using. And of course, when we talk about job and employment, for example, we can refer to Hamel, we can refer to Erika Saba, Seijo, Rudman again with Farias. We have amazing scholars, Natalia Rivas Cornetti, etc., that they are really contributing to our reflections, and they are also contributing to the theoretical foundations for our projects. So here you have some of the references. It's not a complete list, but I wanted to share at least some of them with you. And in this project, what we do, we empower young people to be able to find a job in this new economy 4.0 and green economy. Why young people? Because the unemployment rate in Spain for young people is close to 50%. That's kind of a occupational disaster, occupational challenge, occupational problem, huge problem. So it's one of our biggest occupational challenges in Spain. It's the work and employment, meaningful employment for young people. And so we have seen as this economy 4.0, fourth industrial revolution, means that new jobs, thousands, are going to be created just for the ones with this. So we train them to have these digital competences, but also we take care of their emotional well-being. The group of people we work with are teenagers that had some kind of problems connected to mental health, emotional well-being, education. So one of the parts of the project is about the well-being of the teenagers, training them to be able to access to this fourth industrial revolution. And also we are combating the climate change because we are working through a green economy. But also we are bringing these new technologies to society because we do so many activities just to train the general society through these new technologies. So our values are well-being, equality, social justice, sustainability, innovation, global citizenship, and hope, because we really believe that hope is extremely important today. So EGSD is a social enterprise whose mission is to generate well-being and quality for employment of young people by promoting more inclusive, healthy, and sustainable society. We are working with the goals number 3, health and well-being. 4th, education and quality. 7, decent employment and economic growth. 9, industry, innovation, infrastructures. 10, reducing inequalities. 11, sustainable communities and cities. 12, responsible production and consumption. And 13, actions against the climate. So you see, it's really connected to ecosocial. We have goals connected to the well-being of the populations, the health, well-being, social participation, but also with climate. And of course, also it's connected to infrastructures, it's connected to economic growth, green growth in this case. So you see, it's a complex project, really. So this project is a reality thanks to a powerful partnership from the University of Vic with the City Council of Caidetenes, but also with the Diputación de Barcelona local government, with the Catalonia government, with Fundación La Caixa. So you see, the art of partnership is extremely important, as Hanneke van Bruggen That's to me in the courses I did in Amsterdam. So long time ago, it was one of the parts of the course. Still remember to be in Amsterdam with Hanneke about this course. It was about writing and designing and writing proposals for projects, whatever. So it was so wonderful, and every student in occupational therapy should have the possibility to have this kind of training, how to write proposals, how to design projects, as I did with Hanneke. So it's one of the things now I am teaching and sharing with the others. Nestor Aparicio is a key person in this project. He's one of my PhD students with amazing knowledge in 3D printing, but he's combining what I mentioned is the amazing technological person with a great humanist. So he has a perfect combination. So this is part of the group that we are training right now. The project we started in 2023, and we already have funding for 2024. And I think this project, of course, it's going to be alive for the next 10, 20 years, if God wish. So what we are going to do is we're working with youth employment, preparing them for these thousands of jobs that will appear. So we are going to create objects, products for landscaping, urbanism, and interiorism through industrial 3D printing of plastics, but also ceramics. And also we are working through green economy as we are recycling plastics. You see, this is a big 3D printer, is the one we are using. So we are not using the small ones. We are using this big one, the industrial one. So we are training the students close to 400 euros, hours of digital fabrication, close to 100 hours of social entrepreneurship. Remember when we talk about the document from European Union, it was about citizenship, it was about digital competences, it was about entrepreneurship. So you see how we are trying to also to work to deal with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is another group of competences that we really need to transfer to our occupational therapy students, and we are not yet doing enough at the European level. In some places, it's amazing what they are doing, but we need to transfer more capabilities to be entrepreneurs for our students. Although they are working in the public service, although they are working in existing competences, companies, they also then will be entrepreneurs, but we need to train more about this competence. This is at least what I really believe. So first of all, we did the participant selection with the social services. During 6 months, the participants have received training about entrepreneurship, digital manufacturing, recycling, green economy, digital economy. Then they are doing 3 months in working in companies. And at the end, we are creating the social enterprise, EGSD, and we are supporting them to transfer to the job market in this sector. Occupational therapy is part of all the processes, from the selection, the training, the part of job coaching that we are doing with them. The occupational therapy also chooses the places for the field work of the students, do the follow-up, look for employments at the community. So you see how occupational therapy is protagonist in all this process. So when they finish this process, we go with them, we do accompanying them to find a work, as I mentioned, the occupational therapy, and 2 of the group of 10 each year, we'll have 2 of them will be the monitors, the professors of the next years. So we have 10 per year to repeat the next year, and the other to train the new group of young people, and the others we help them to find jobs in this sector, the economy 4.0, that now there are a lot of possibilities, of course. So we invite you, 15 December, 11:30, we're gonna inaugurate the new warehouse. We are in the industrial park of Caidetenes. We have this huge space for the next 5 years. It's gonna be our home. So you can see how now we are just organizing the place because we have the opening in 1 month. Still. And so you see how really meaningful occupation can really contribute for the well-being, the social participation, but also the ecological aspect. So I just wanted to share with you this painting from Andrés Vidal that also you can find in the amazing museum of Oviedo. It's a beautiful museum. And of course, you have here some of the one reflection was from this painting. It's that Ventura Alvarez. This painting means that it helps me to remember a reflection from the author who said that when we are in a storm, it's very important for us just to have our uh, path. We follow one guiding star. I really believe that values like occupational justice and occupational therapy are our guiding stars for our path as professionals in the field of occupational therapy. And I think it's still important to remember in this time that we are living the necessity to be creative. As Leonardo Boff said, in this time of uncertainty, more than ever, in this time of crisis, we need to be creative and to keep on dreaming. So it's very important to have occupational dreams, but then to fight to convert these occupational dreams into reality, to keep on fighting for this occupational justice, this occupational ecology. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you again. It has been such a beautiful privilege. It was great to be in Oviedo, to be able to give this keynote. Hanneke van Bruggen, she has been my biggest European influence. I have been so lucky to have her as a friend, but also as a master. And I also wanted to offer myself. We are working like consultants for the last years. You are interested, of course, in developing any of these projects, how to integrate digital competence in your curriculum, how to develop projects from this entrepreneurship, digital competence, whatever, with the local communities, whatever you want. It's going to be a privilege for the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia, to work with you and to build something together. So here you have my contact, salvador.simon@ubic.cat, even personal number, my portfolio, so you can see what we do. And I really hope in the next future, as I mentioned, we can work and do something together. So let's collaborate. And I love this painting. You have recognized credits, and just it's in front of us. We have an amazing scenario. There are so many problems, but there are so many amazing possibilities. And as one of my favorite poets says, Michael Martipol, everything is to be done, but with people as you, everything is possible. So thank you so much.